Listen closely. There are moments in life when the character of those around you is revealed not by loud betrayal, but by the quiet drifting of their loyalty. They pull backs, lowly, subtly, expecting you to chase after what was never committed in the first place. And in that moment, you are tempted to cling, to plead, to bend yourself into shapes God never asked you to take. But hear this, you were never called to beg for loyalty. You were called to walk in truth. Some people do not leave suddenly. They retreat step by step, watching to see if you will trade your dignity for their inconsistency. They expect you to ignore the distance growing between you, to make excuses for their silence, to treat their neglect as something you deserve. But you must understand loyalty is not proven by words spoken in comfortable seasons. Loyalty is proven when everything is difficult, when everything demands clarity, when relationships are tested by time and trial. Do not confuse love with captivity. Do not chain yourself to those whose hearts are no longer walking with you. If they pull back, then you pull away, not in bitterness, not in anger, but in sobriety and self-respect. You cannot stand firm while gripping hands that are already letting go. There is a weight that comes from carrying people who refuse to walk beside you, and that weight will crush your joy, your focus, your purpose. Some of you are exhausted not because your path is too hard, but because you are dragging people who were never meant to stay. Let them go. Distance is not your enemy, deception is, and understand this deeply. True loyalty is rare. It is costly. It is forged in hardship. Those who possess it do not disappear when storms rise. They stand with you not because you are perfect, but because their integrity will not allow them to do otherwise. Surround yourself with such souls. Do not chase what is fading. Do not bow to what is half-hearted. Stand with those who stand with you. If someone's commitment collapses the moment it is tested, it was never commitment at all. And you must not build your life on what cannot hold weight. Do not chase after people whose loyalty fades. If they pull back, you must pull away with dignity and clarity. This truth is not born out of pride or coldness, but out of a sober understanding of human character, of the cost of loyalty, and of the sacred value of your own heart. There comes a time in your life when you must recognize that loyalty is not something you force, not something you buy, and not something you bargain for. It cannot be negotiated into existence. It either stands on its own legs or collapses the moment pressure is applied. And when someone begins to drift from you, lowly withdrawing affection, interest, commitment, you must see it for what it is. Not always malice, not always betrayal, but a revelation of where their priorities lie, where their values rest, where their heart has turned. You cannot spend your life running after those who have already decided you no longer matter the way you once did. You cannot distort your identity just to remain acceptable to those who have changed their minds about your worth. When you chase those who pull away, you are teaching yourself to accept half commitments, diluted loyalty, and love that is present only when it is convenient. There is no dignity in that. There is no peace in that. And there is certainly no future in that. You were not created to cling to relationships that survive only when you are the one making all the effort. You were not meant to carry the weight of someone else's indecision. When their loyalty fades, it is not your duty to rekindle what they themselves have allowed to die. Some people drift because their heart is no longer aligned with yours. Some drift because they are afraid of confrontation. Some drift because they only valued what you provided, not who you were. And some drift simply because their season in your life has ended. Whatever the reason, you must have the courage to acknowledge the distance they are creating, and you must have the strength to create distance of your own. Because if you keep running after those who retreat, you will lose yourself in the chase. You will exhaust your spirit trying to revive what has already breathed its last. You will twist your identity until you barely recognize the person staring back at you. You will allow their actions to define your self-worth, as though your value is determined by how tightly someone holds on to you instead of who you are at your core. This is why dignity is essential. Dignity reminds you that your worth does not crumble simply because someone else failed to honor it. Clarity reminds you that fading loyalty is not something to interpret emotionally, but realistically. When people pull back, they are telling you something, sometimes gently, sometimes carelessly, but always truthfully. And you must listen. Pulling away with dignity and clarity does not mean hatred. It does not mean bitterness. It does not mean punishment or revenge. It means a calm, grounded decision to stop feeding a connection that only drains you. It means stepping back so you can protect your peace, preserve your identity, and realign yourself with people who value consistency. Pulling away is an act of strength because it refuses to let your heart be shaped by someone else's inconsistency. It refuses to let your life revolve around another person's uncertainty. You must understand this. Loyalty is an investment, not a loan. When someone takes from you your time, your presence, your affection, but no longer offers loyalty in return, they are withdrawing from a well they do not replenish. Sooner or later, that well will run dry. And when it does, you will feel resentment, confusion, and heartbreak. But all of that could have been spared if you had listened to the signs early on. When someone withdraws emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, they are showing you that their investment has shifted elsewhere. And maybe they do not say it with words, but silence often speaks more honestly than speech. Some people will test how far they can pull away before you finally stop chasing. They want to know if you will stay loyal even when they are not. They want the comfort of your presence without offering commitment in return. And the truth is, as long as you keep running after them, you are teaching them how little they need to give to keep access to you. You become an option, not a priority, but you were never meant to be an option. You were meant to be met with the same loyalty you give. Pulling away with dignity does something powerful. It resets the balance. It declares that your loyalty is valuable, that it cannot be handled carelessly. It communicates that you will not attach yourself to relationships built on uncertainty, nor will you chase validation where integrity is lacking. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, that you refuse to settle for one-sided loyalty. When you begin to step back, you start to see more clearly. Distance reveals truth. It exposes who reaches out and who lets go. It shows you who cares enough to close the gap and who is content with watching the space widen. Clarity grows in silence, and perspective develops when emotions settle. Suddenly, you realize that not everyone who walked with you intended to stay. Not everyone who smiled at you truly valued you. Not everyone who called you friend understood what friendship requires. But even in this recognition, you do not grow bitter, because pulling away with dignity also teaches you compassion. You start to understand that not everyone is capable of the loyalty you give. Some lack the maturity, some lack the courage, some lack the depth, and some simply lack the desire. But their limitations are not your burden to carry. Do not dishonor yourself by holding on to people who have already let go of you in their heart. You cannot heal relationships by sacrificing your self-respect. You cannot mend distance by ignoring the truth. Loyalty is not something you gift without discernment. It is sacred, it is weighty, and it is costly. If you give it to those who treat it lightly, you will always be disappointed. You must walk away from fading loyalty, not because you are hard, but because you are wise. Not because you do not care, but because you care too much to allow your heart to be mishandled. Pulling away is not abandonment, it is acceptance, acceptance of what is real, acceptance of what is changing, acceptance of what can no longer be forced. The truth is, you cannot build a stable life on unstable people. You cannot build trust on inconsistency. You cannot build peace on uncertainty. And you cannot build loyalty on anything other than mutual commitment. So when someone pulls back, honor the message, step away with grace, do not beg, do not chase, do not plead your value to those who should have already seen it. You will find that as you pull away, new clarity emerges. Your life becomes lighter, your peace grows, and eventually, people who are meant to walk with you will appear, not because you chased, but because you made space. They will recognize your worth without you having to prove it. They will stay not because you held on tightly, but because their loyalty matches yours. So do not chase after people whose loyalty fades. If they pull back, you must pull away, not in anger, but in wisdom. Not in hurt, but in truth. Not to punish them, but to protect yourself. And when you walk away, walk with dignity, walk with clarity, walk with the knowledge that your loyalty is precious, and those who deserve it will never require you to chase them to keep it. True loyalty is rare and proven through hardship. Surround yourself only with those who stand firm when tested. Loyalty is not revealed in calm seasons or in moments where everything is comfortable and familiar. Anyone can claim devotion when the skies are clear, when life is smooth, when staying by your side costs nothing. Empty promises flow easily from lips that have never been pressed by fire. But when the pressure comes, when trouble presses in, when reputation is questioned, when sacrifice becomes the price of commitment, then the truth rises to the surface. Then you see who stands with you not out of convenience, but out of conviction. Hardship exposes what comfort hides, and what hardship reveals is often painful, yet profoundly liberating. True loyalty is like gold. It is valuable because it is rare, and it is rare because it is refined. It is not cheap, it is not effortless, and it is not fragile. It endures pressure, survives disappointment, and remains steady even when the world shifts. People who possess this kind of loyalty do not turn away when things get complicated. They do not disappear when you falter. They do not treat your life like a revolving door, entering when they desire comfort and slipping away when you need strength. These are individuals who have looked at your flaws, your humanity, your failures, and yet chosen to stay, not blindly, not foolishly, but faithfully. But you must understand that such people are few. Most individuals only remain loyal as long as it benefits them. Their devotion is transactional. Their closeness lasts only until hardship demands something of them. The moment standing with you threatens their convenience, their image, or their comfort, they begin to drift. They create distance, make excuses, reduce commitment, and pretend the bond was never as strong as they once claimed. Their loyalty was never truly loyalty. It was proximity disguised as devotion, and hardship simply revealed what was already true beneath the surface. This is why you must guard your circle carefully. You must surround yourself not with those who shine only in daylight, but with those who glow even in the dark. People who remain steady when waves hit, who refuse to abandon you for their own ease, who understand that loyalty involves sacrifice. Those who are willing to stand in uncomfortable spaces with you, those are the ones whose presence is worth keeping. Think of the times you have struggled, the moments when you felt weak, overwhelmed, misunderstood. Who stood with you then? Who answered when you had nothing to offer in return? who stayed when your life stopped being convenient or inspiring, who held the line when it would have been easier to step aside. Those individuals showed you a glimpse of true loyalty, and perhaps there were fewer than you expected, perhaps far fewer than you hoped. But the scarcity itself is the lesson. Loyalty is not common. It is not something everyone is capable of giving, and that is precisely why it must be treasured. Surrounding yourself with those who stand firm when tested is not about arrogance. It is about protection. Hardship is unavoidable. Life will always bring seasons where the ground shakes, where relationships are tested, where motives are revealed. And during those times, the wrong people in your circle can sabotage your spirit. They can weaken your resolve, burden your heart, and drain your strength. Disloyal individuals bring instability. They give you false security, speak empty comfort, and collapse the moment you lean on them. You cannot afford to build your life on such foundations. You need people who are anchored in character, anchored in integrity, anchored in courage, people whose word holds weight, people who understand that relationships are not disposable, people who treat loyalty not as an optional accessory, but as a responsibility. Those are the ones who will stand with you when life demands endurance. Hardship has a way of cleansing your life. It strips away the superficial, the shallow, the self-serving. It removes those who were merely spectators, those who walked with you for admiration, entertainment, or convenience. And though it may hurt to watch them go, it also frees you, because once the dust settles, you are left with something far more valuable: clarity. You begin to see who is truly in your corner and who is merely sitting in your shadow. Hardship does not weaken loyalty, it reveals it, and what it reveals is worth everything. True loyalty is not loud. It does not brag, does not announce itself, does not demand recognition. It is quiet, steady, and unwavering. It shows itself in simple acts. The friend who calls when everyone else forgets, the person who defends you when you are not in the room, the soul who sits with you in discomfort without demanding you pretend to be strong. These gestures may seem small, but they are the markers of a loyalty built on sincerity, not performance. The temptation is to keep people close just because of history, but history alone does not guarantee loyalty. Someone can share your past and still betray your present. Someone can know your heart and still abandon you when it matters most. That is why hardship becomes a filter. Not everyone who starts the journey will finish it with you. Not everyone who applauds you will support you. Not everyone who walks beside you is truly committed to the road you walk. But you must not let the scarcity of loyalty harden you. Do not close your heart entirely. Do not allow the wounds of betrayal to convince you that loyalty is a myth. It exists, but you must seek it with discernment. You must pay attention to actions, not words. You must value consistency over charisma, sacrifice over sentiment. And when you find those rare individuals whose loyalty survives the fires of hardship, honor them, cherish them, protect that bond, because it is more precious than many realize. Loyalty is not about perfection. Even the loyal make mistakes, even they stumble, but what separates them is that they return, they apologize, they repair, they refuse to let distance grow unchecked. They refuse to let misunderstanding break something worth keeping. They take responsibility, and they carry the relationship with a seriousness that reflects their commitment. That is loyalty, not flawlessness, but faithfulness. Life is too short, too heavy, and too unpredictable to surround yourself with those who cannot stand the weight of hardship. As the years pass, you will learn that the strength of your circle affects the strength of your spirit. The people around you influence your peace, your direction, your growth. If they are inconsistent, your world will feel unstable. If they are self-serving, you will feel drained. If they are fair, weathered, you will feel abandoned the moment you need support. So choose carefully. Surround yourself with people whose character holds under pressure. People who show up not just in celebration, but in crisis. People who stand firm not because they are obligated, but because they are loyal by nature. When you walk through hardship with such individuals by your side, you do not walk alone. Their steadiness strengthens you, their presence protects you, their loyalty anchors you, and you, in turn, become loyal to them, not out of fear or duty, but out of gratitude, out of shared struggle, out of mutual respect. Loyalty grows in both directions when it is real. It binds people together in a way that time cannot erode and hardship cannot destroy. So remember, true loyalty is rare and proven through hardship. Do not waste your heart on those who vanish when storms come. Do not confuse proximity with commitment. Do not cling to those who crumble under pressure. Instead, surround yourself with those who stand firm when tested, for these are the souls who will walk with you through both fire and triumph. They are few, but they are enough.